I'd like to welcome you to the Art of Recovery. Let me start by saying getting ready for this video seems like one of the hardest things I've ever done, so here goes. My story of recovery from addiction began over 10 years ago inside of a prison, as I dedicated my life to a treatment process that I honestly did not believe would work, because I thought I'd tried it all during my 20 years of drug abuse, alcoholism, and mental health issues, especially with 3 attempts at 30-day treatment centers, all those 12-step meetings and sponsors, attending many different churches and trying several different religions, short times in county jails in 4 states, and also those involuntary commitments to 3 mental wards from overdosing, or what they said was drug-induced psychosis, which led to multiple attempts with psychiatrist medications, and then all the many, many times I tried to get sober, promising and appearing to everyone I was better for a while, then the terrible relapses over and over. I felt like I had already tried everything to be normal, but all I ever seemed capable of was hurting myself and those around me, even those I said I loved. The list of addictions I've struggled with is long. Trust me when I say I've given up a lot, and it's very difficult for me to admit these things publicly right now. I never knew that experimenting and partying with friends when I was young would cause me so much pain later in my life, because what was supposed to be fun eventually turned into years of addiction to hard drugs, with cocaine abuse in every one of its forms, along with all those dangerous amphetamines and heroin. In the beginning, snorting them all up my nose until the damage was so severe that I progressed to smoking them, which almost killed me several times, and then sadly to injecting those drugs into my veins because nothing else would even work anymore. In the end, like the night I crashed into that roadblock, I'd been up for 3 days, using a syringe almost every hour, wishing I could just die and the pain would finally be over. In my youth, I also abused psychedelics and hallucinogens, taking too much LSD, mushrooms, and peyote or mescaline, which I finally stopped using as I got older because they became harder and harder to find. So I turned to legal and mostly illegal prescriptions of pharmaceutical drugs, like nearly every kind of pain pill, along with Valium and Xanax abuse, plus the Adderall and Seroquel the psychiatrist said would help me. I was also a heavy smoker for over 25 years, with daily marijuana use and a terrible tobacco habit, using cigarettes, dip, and chewing tobacco. As I'm sure anyone who smokes or vapes today knows, nicotine is one of the hardest substances to quit. And I also struggled through years and years of alcohol abuse, sometimes binge drinking every single day because I believed I could not possibly function without it. I would also become a degenerate gambler, wasting fortunes on that rip-off lottery ticket scam, or gambling for days at many of the casinos with their slot machines and poker and table games. I've also been miserably addicted to pornography, watching it for years, along with chasing pleasure and sex just like a drug, because I had somehow confused feeling good and fun times with happiness, which would lead me to many unhealthy, addictive relationships based on drinking or using drugs together, calling it love until we seemed unable to quit each other, until finally pain forced us apart. And even a food addiction has caused me problems with unhealthy diets or gluttony, the weight gains and losses through the years as I went back and forth between 150 and 250 pounds like it wouldn't hurt me. And for as long as I can remember, I've been a workaholic and chased money because mistakenly I believed more and more of it could somehow bring happiness or fix me, until that character defect has nearly crippled me. In the last year, my past has caught up with me, and I've had to have 3 major surgeries, first to my damaged left leg, then a complete right hip replacement so I could walk again, and painfully my right shoulder has also been rebuilt because my arm had actually quit working. I've also compulsively turned to shopping and hoarding up things and wasting money on stuff I didn't even need, and then I would feel guilty and silly with all the unwanted junk I'd bought. And most recently, my excessive cell phone usage and addiction to the internet or social media becoming way too distracted by Facebook and Messenger, memes, TikTok, the news, or just plain useless online content until I finally acknowledged all the hours of wasted time I spent watching and listening to things that would never help me get anywhere in life. Can anyone else out there relate? Do you use some habit every single day, making yourself believe you enjoy it or you must have it because it helps somehow, or even when it feels like it's probably harming you and you wish you could stop? I know I must remind myself often there are solutions and they do work. I continue to rely on them today as a treatment process to eliminate harmful things from my own life. You see, to me, life is too short, and my recovery is a daily thing now. It's not just about addictions, but more about the process of constantly working on myself because I want to become a more content and a happier person without having any useless habits to do it. Some definitions say recovery means to get well again after an illness or an injury, or to get something back that was once lost, kind of like my sanity or peace of mind, or to return to a former state of strength, mind, or health. All these definitions apply to me, so I hope my story of how I've recovered can somehow help others find their own path. With each new video, I will continue to open up and share about myself and how I've found this relief. If you are on a Securus tablet inside the Department of Corrections right now and have access to these treatment programs, I hope my future videos can explain how they worked and help me start my life over, because I can promise you this: if recovery is possible for someone like me, then anyone can recover from anything. Before I go, let me be completely honest about something. Although I'm drug and alcohol free today, make no mistake, I am not fixed, and I am still trying to recover. I shared in my first video I lost my children after that wreck, but in reality, I'd already lost them, as my addictions had cost me almost every relationship I ever had, and so painfully, it would be 17 and a half years before I saw my daughter again. We finally reunited last year. I am very close to her and my grandchildren today. They call me Papa, and they treat me like I hung the moon. They don't know anything about my past yet, and my life is better than I ever thought it could be. But I still have not heard from my son, so I guess he is unable to forgive me. Wherever you are, son, if you ever see this, I wish I could tell you that I am no longer that awful man who would choose addictions to drugs, alcohol, and gambling over his own family. I will continue to seek recovery, partly because I hope that maybe someday you could find it in your heart to give me just one more chance. I love you. There is so much more to my story, and although this isn't easy, I'll keep trying to share it. Thank you for watching The Art of Recovery. Another video is coming soon.